does this place mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, it's a place that, you know, I have a lot of memories here. Coming back here, I haven't been back in 4 years, and thinking about the 2 years that I was here. I mean, I just told the high school coaches, I said, relative to college football, this is football heaven. You know, you come back here and you come through this building, you see the Letterman wall, you see the All-American wall, you see the guys coming out of meetings. All the changes that James has made in the building are incredible. I mean, nice day outside, so this is what it's all about. And I have great memories here. Nothing but good feelings about Penn State.
When was the last time you were here, Bill?
The day I left. Yeah, I came back to State College, but I didn't come over here. I came back for a little get-together with some friends of mine from here a couple of years ago, but never back to this side. So this is my first time back since I left, and it definitely brings back a lot of memories. And like I said to Corey, you know, you look around and all the changes that have been made in the building, and you know, like I said to James earlier, you know, he's done such a great job here, and this is where Penn State should be, you know, on the brink of a national championship and being the type of team that can go out there and compete with anybody in the country. And I think that's a statement to what he's done here, and you can see it here, and it just makes me feel really good about being here today. It was cool to come here. He asked me to come back and speak at the clinic, and I said, man, I think that'd be pretty cool. So it was good to be back.
Did you have a sense for what sort of sleeping giant this program was when you were here? Obviously, you were hamstrung by some difficult situations, but to see them winning Big Ten titles and going to back-to-back New Year's Six games, did you have a feel for that?
Absolutely. I think you knew that once, you know, when I was here, we were still there were still some sanctions there, and so, you know, but I knew in time with the type of people that were here at the university. I mean, I'm looking around here and I see Jonesy back there and Jeff Nelson over here and all these great people, and I came in and ate dinner with Matt Millen and Paul Suey last night. You know, they're just some great people here, and I knew that in time with the support and the type of program that Coach Paterno had built here, that this place was going to be back, that it was going to be some tough times going through it, but in the end, it was going to be back battling for national championships. I mean, you can see it now, and that's all of us that were here, players and coaches, we still keep in touch, and we're all very proud of, you know, what's going on here now.
What do you miss most about the college game or you know, coaching Penn State?
No, look, I think every level has its challenges and has its advantages. You know, I think the differences, they're just differences. I don't know if it's anything that I miss. You know, I think it's just, there's differences when you're coaching a guy that's, you know, he comes in as a 17, 18-year-old freshman and you're developing him, and, you know, you're developing him on and off the field, academically, obviously, socially off the field, and then obviously on the football field. Professional football is a little bit different. You're still developing young players on and off the field, but it's, you know, these guys are getting paid now, so it's a little bit different mindset in professional football. But there's challenges to both, and there's things about both that I love, and I love where I'm at right now. But coming back here brings back a lot of great memories.
Hey, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
Good.
What are you most proud of, and any regrets?
Well, I regret every loss. I mean, you know, I definitely regret every loss. I thought we could have won more games while we were here, but I think the biggest thing that I'm most proud of here is just the relationships that were built, and the fact that there was look, I'm just going to tell you, like, there was a time when the sanctions first came out that they said this program would never come back. You know, there were people that said that this program would be you know, basically a Division II, Division I AA program, whatever the word is for that now, sub-conference, super. I don't know how they phrase that now anymore, but I think you know what I mean. And, you know, I think we all looked at each other that were here and, you know, looked at this wall and looked at the All-Americans and knew that, like, that was never going to happen, that something terrible had happened here, but that, you know, things were moving forward and we had the right people in place to bridge that gap to where they are now. And so I'm most proud of the relationships and the people that we had here. Some of the best people I met were the guys that I worked with here, the people I worked with here, the guys that I coached here. Still keep in touch with a lot of those guys. And so, you know, I think that's probably what I'm most proud of.
You mentioned keeping in touch with some of those guys. Christian, Adam Brenneman. I mean, because obviously you guys are all going 20 different directions. Yeah. What's the last contact you've had with those guys?
You know, I haven't talked to Hack in a while. I have not talked to Hack in a while. You just reminded me. I probably need to reach out to him. But Brenneman we had in the Senior Bowl. So I coached the Senior Bowl, and he came down there and he hurt his hamstring. so he didn't practice as much. But I know he retired now from football. But those guys were great guys. They came to Penn State, like I've said millions of times, during a very tough time. I mean, they committed to Penn State, and then it was told to us that we couldn't go to bowl games and we couldn't win championships and all this, and they stayed committed, and I think that says a lot about them. They could have gone anywhere. Hackenberg could have gone to Alabama, Miami. Brenneman could have gone anywhere. He was the #1 tight end in the country when he was coming out, and they stayed with Penn State, and I think that says a lot about those guys and the type of parents that they have and the type of guys that they are.
Your future with the Texans, and some of the ups and downs you've had, but now you've got a new contract, you got Deshaun.
Yeah.
How good do you feel about where you are now and what the future could hold?
Yeah, it's year to year in the NFL, Corey. I mean, I know I'm very appreciative of the new contract. I'm very appreciative of the McNairs and the support that they've given myself and Brian Gain, our new GM. But we need to make improvements, and that's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing since the season ended, trying to improve the roster. We start our off-season program on April 16th, so that'll be a big time period for us. Getting guys back healthy is obviously very important, but there's a lot of other things that we need to improve upon schematically, football-wise, that we'll start working on April 16th. But we're all excited about what the future could be in Houston, but we have to go out there and do it.
And the fact that you've got a quarterback.
Yeah, that's big. I think, Corey, like everybody knows in the NFL, that's you can't say that that's the most important position, but it's a very, very important position. And if you have a guy there that is a good leader, is a really good player, a good person, knows how to get the ball in the end zone, that means a lot to your organization, and we feel like we have that with Deshaun.
Bill, I know you said that you felt Penn State would be back, but are you surprised at all by how quickly they've come back?
No, because I knew that once the sanctions were lifted, and I had a sense that when I was getting ready to move, that there was possibility that they would be completely lifted. I just had that sense because we were doing things the right way. I mean, we were doing everything the right way here. I mean, we were by the book. We weren't making extra phone calls. We weren't tweeting, texting. We were doing things by the book. And so I knew that once they saw that these people are really doing things the way it should be done, that once those things were lifted, that this place is a place where kids should really want to come and play football. Like I said, it's like college football heaven. You come in here and you watch a game in front of 108,000 fans. You come into this building, the practice fields, the view from the practice field, the indoor facility. They have the nutrition deal set up in the weight room now. I felt like this would be a place that could definitely come back pretty quickly.
Can you tell us about your relationship with James? And he had mentioned that he reached out to you before taking the job. Can you let us know what went into that conversation at all?
Yeah, sure. He and I go way back. I mean, we coached. Our offices were next to each other at Maryland. We were neighbors in Crofton. Our wives are friends. Fumi and my wife Colleen are friends. One thing about James, I always remember about James, he was great with my oldest son. He was always great, and every time he called, he asked about my oldest son. That always meant a lot to me about James, and so we've known each other for a while. And when I left, and there were some candidates for the job, he was one of them, and he called and just about where things were at, what I thought needed to be done improvement-wise relative to this building or relative to recruiting and all the different things, talk about the personnel that they had here and things like that. That was pretty much, just a lot of football talk, and I told him what a great place it was and what a great 2 years I had here. I really enjoyed my 2 years here.
Did you see anything, Bill, in him in 03 and 04 that would have led you to believe that he would have ended up here?
Oh, yeah. He was very smart, very energetic, had a great energy, good with the players. Smart in a lot of different areas, could coach, could recruit, hard worker, very hard worker, up early, stayed late, and a good personality. I think you have to have, whatever your personality is, you have to have something to be able to be a head coach. And I think he had all of those traits, and he obviously he started that at Vanderbilt, and then now what he's done here has been fantastic.
All right, for two more, Roby.
Bill, how's Jack doing?
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, he's doing good. He had a rough couple months a couple months ago, but we're in a good place for him, and he's doing well. He's got a great mom, as most people around here know, and we feel good about how he's doing right now. Every day's a struggle for Jack, but he's He's doing well. And then Michael, my 12-year-old, will be 13 in May. He's playing baseball every day down there. So he's a lefty pitcher. I think he struck out 9 last night, the game I missed. But and then he's going to a little Catholic junior high around the corner from where we live and doing well. So everybody's doing well.
Anything else?
Anything else?
Was there anything you learned here specifically that has carried over to the NFL?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think when I got here, I'll be honest with you, Nate, I'd never been a head coach. So everything that I was doing here was things that I'd learned from guys I'd worked for, going by instincts. And one of the biggest things that I learned here was the relationship with the players and how important it was to be honest with the players about, what was going on here at that time or what was happening, in their own lives, how they were playing, what was going on off the field. I just felt like, as a head coach, I felt like one of the things I learned the most was trying to connect. It's hard to connect with every player because there's a lot of guys, but I think you have to really try to connect with the players. You can't be their buddy, but you have to connect with them in a way where you have somewhat of a mentorship towards them. And I think that's one thing that I tried to do here, and I've always tried to do. And the other thing I learned here was about character. I learned about, if you have guys that have great character, that are mentally tough, that are physically tough, that love the game, love to practice, you're going to win games, And I think that's something that I've tried to carry into Houston. I think that having guys with high character, maybe the guy runs a 4.2 and this guy over here runs a 4.4, but the guy that runs the 4.2 is always in trouble. This guy that runs the 4.4 is a guy that works hard, wants to try to get better every day. That's what we had here. That's what we had here. We had a bunch of guys that loved to practice, loved Penn State, and it was a good 2 years for learning about how important those things were.
Thanks, Obi.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Yeah, you got it. Yep.